It was exactly 4 a.m. when my life ended. Even though I didn't realize it at the time. She was standing there in the soft darkness of our bedroom, tying her shoelaces silently, as if she was sneaking out of a crime scene. The room smelled like her new perfume. Something floral, unfamiliar, expensive. I remember the coldness of the floor when I stepped out of bed, the blur in my eyes, and her voice, calm, steady, rehearsed. "I'm going for a walk," she whispered. "A walk? At 4 a.m.? My half-asleep brain tried to make sense of it. She never woke up before 7. She hated the cold. And she always said morning walks were for retired people with nothing better to do. I wanted to ask questions. I wanted to grab her hand and say, "Since when? Where? Why alone?" But I didn't, because love makes you trust without logic. It makes you swallow your instincts, silence your questions, defend the person who may already be destroying you. She looked at me with a casual smile, like everything was normal, like this wasn't the beginning of the end. "Go back to sleep," she whispered, touching my forehead the way she used to, back when love still lived between us. The door clicked shut, the hallway light faded, and I lay there staring at the ceiling, hearing nothing but my own heartbeat saying one thing: something is wrong. If you're still listening, remember this moment, because this 4 a.m. walk will shatter everything. I met her 9 years ago, in a tiny bookstore that smelled like old pages and coffee. She was laughing with the owner because he kept the wrong book on a shelf labeled romance. A 90s hip-hop playlist hummed from the speakers, the Notorious B.I.G. old-school vibe, the kind of music that makes the world feel young, simple, pure. She turned toward me, holding the wrong book, and said, "Do you think Heartbreak belongs in the romance section or the horror section?" I didn't know then, but she was asking me about our future. We spent 3 hours talking that day. About love, about fear, about ambition. We talked about family, how she believed only the family matters. She told me betrayal was her biggest fear, and I told her love could survive anything if trust was strong. Trust, such a beautiful word, such a painful weapon. We married 2 years later. Small ceremony, big dreams. She had nothing fancy, no diamond-filled wishes, just that bookstore smile and a heart that felt like home. I worked 2 jobs in the beginning. Day shift at the office, night shift freelancing, anything to build a future for us. She studied late, chasing her degree, writing notes until her eyes burned. We were a team, one heartbeat, one direction. In those early days, nothing mattered except love. Bills felt lighter. Rainy nights felt warmer. Cooking at midnight felt romantic. Even arguments ended with laughter, lips pressed together, foreheads touching in apology. People say betrayal starts like a storm, loud and violent. But they're wrong. It starts like a gentle wind, so soft you don't even notice the trees bending. The first early warning came 3 years into our marriage. She started evening walks. First, it was innocent. She said it helped her clear her head after studying. Sometimes she'd come back with ice cream, sometimes with flowers, sometimes with nothing but silence. Then she got a new phone, sleek, locked, always face down. I joked about it once. Planning to join the CIA? She laughed too hard, too loudly, as if she was laughing at something else. Someone else. I ignored it like a good husband, because love teaches us something dangerous. You defend the person you love, even when your heart begs you to open your eyes. We built a home, furniture on EMI, curtains she loved, a small balcony garden with mint leaves and sadness growing side by side. Her friend Sarah visited often, a woman with a smile too sharp and advice too sugary. She praised every small thing in our marriage, but her eyes always scanned the room as if searching for weaknesses. "Relationships are fragile," she said once, swirling tea. "You have to keep it exciting, or someone else will." I thought she was being dramatic. Now I know she was warning me, or tempting her. My best friend, Adnan, hated Sarah. He called her a walking red flag dressed in perfume. He was blunt, cold, the kind of man who believed trust didn't exist anymore. "How to act when a woman ignores you? You stay silent," he once said. That's stoicism. Power is quiet. I wasn't like him. I believed in communication, in vulnerability, in talking through pain. Truth is, the side effects of loving too deeply is blindness. We took trips, beach sunsets, long drives, cheap motels, fast food at midnight, laughing like kids, kissing like lovers, dreaming like fools. And I thought that was enough. I thought love could fight darkness alone. But darkness was growing quietly behind me. Now, looking back, I can see the signs shining like red neon. Evening walks, locked phone, new perfume, changing music, Sarah's influence, Mr. Raz's warning, Adnan's silence, microhook after microhook, all pointing to one truth. She wasn't walking for her health. She was walking away from me. If you believe trust is everything in a relationship, comment, stay strong. Because it was the morning of her third 4 a.m. walk, when love finally lost its war against reality. And everything I believed about marriage, loyalty, trust, betrayal, and the woman I shared my life with was about to burn. The third 4 a.m. walk didn't start with a whisper. It started with a vibration. Her phone buzzed beneath the pillow. Hidden, tucked away like a forbidden secret. 3 short vibrations. A pause. Then one more. Rhythm. Pattern. Meaning. I wasn't asleep this time. My eyes opened before the sound ended. And for the first time in 9 years of marriage, I didn't move. I stayed perfectly still, breathing slow, like a man listening to his own execution. Her hand slid under the pillow, fingers shaking. Not from the cold. She didn't want me to hear. She didn't want me to see. She looked at the screen, lips pressed tightly, eyes shrinking into a single emotion. Fear. Not the fear of being harmed, but the fear of being caught. The glow of the phone reflected in her eyes like burning glass. She stood up quietly and walked to the bathroom, closing the door faster than usual. No light, no sound, just darkness. That was the moment the seed of suspicion broke open. It had been growing for months. Now it was a tree tearing through the walls of my heart. People think suspicion feels like anger. No, suspicion feels like drowning in a room full of air. She came out minutes later, wearing her running jacket, hair tied in a messy bun. The kind of look she used to save for special days. And she didn't look at me, not even once. "I'm going," she said. Just that. Not "I'll be back." Not "Do you want tea when I return?" Not sleep. Just going. Like I wasn't part of the story anymore. I waited 10 seconds, then sat up. My heart wasn't fast. It was calm, cold, quiet. I slipped on my jacket, grabbed my keys, and followed her from a distance. Like a stranger studying his own wife. The city was asleep. Streetlights flickered like dying stars. And her steps, they weren't random. They were measured, determined. Like she wasn't walking. She was traveling to something. Someone. She stopped at the corner near the old bookstore, the place we first met. For a second, nostalgia slapped me like a cruel joke. Then a car pulled up. Black, tinted, engine running, headlights off. The door opened without her knocking. No greeting. No hesitation. She got in, and the car drove away. That was the moment everything shattered. Not when a message said, "I love you." Not when a picture revealed skin and betrayal. Not when a stranger held her hand. No, the real heartbreak was the simplicity. How easily she stepped into another world. The world that didn't include me. Keep listening. It's about to get worse. I stood there in the cold, watching the empty street, watching the past, watching the woman I loved disappear into a lie. I didn't cry. Tears are honest. Cheating is not. I went home, and for the first time in our marriage, I started searching for the truth, not to save us, but to save myself. I opened her laptop. She never used it for secret messages. That was her mistake. People are smart when planning a lie, but careless when living it. Emails, deleted folders, recovered data.
Hidden archive.
I found nothing romantic, nothing obvious. Then a file, encrypted. A single name as the title. Only. The password? I tried her birth date, our anniversary, her mother's birthday, even the name of the bookstore. Nothing. Then I remembered something from months ago, the video she played while cooking, laughing to herself. The 3 forbidden compliments that make women adore you. It was a stupid relationship video, full of quotes and tricks. But one line stuck with her. Your password should always be the thing that scares you. What scared her? Not loss. Not death. Not failure. Betrayal. I typed it. Betrayal. The file opened. Inside a folder of voice notes. Hundreds. Labeled by date.
4 Uhr AM. 4 Uhr 15 AM. 4 Uhr 50 AM.
Heartbeats recorded into a phone. I played the first one. Her voice. Soft. Warm. Intimate. I don't know how to leave him. He's a good husband. Too good. And that makes it harder. My heart didn't break. It froze. The next file. He trusts me so blindly. It scares me. How do I walk away from someone who did everything right? Everything right. Yet not enough. Then a man's voice. Calm. Deep. Older. You can't save him and save yourself. You choose one. Silence. Breathing. I choose you. The sound of a kiss. If you're still here, hit like, because the real twist hasn't even arrived yet. This wasn't an affair of passion. It wasn't a reckless mistake. It was planned. Calm. Strategic. This wasn't cheating. It was a decision. I spent hours listening. Rage melting into confusion. Confusion melting into a painful truth. She loved him. Not because he was better, but because he was different. He wasn't younger. He wasn't richer. He wasn't funnier. He was her therapist. A man who listened to her wounds and sold her healing disguised as love. His name appeared once in the recordings. Dr. Cameron. A name I trusted. A man I paid for her sessions when she said she needed emotional support. My money funded her betrayal. There was another voice note, the one that turned suspicion into a gun. I'm going for a walk tomorrow. Last time. After that, I'll tell him. Before the divorce. Divorce. A word she never used in 9 years. A word she practiced in her voice notes like rehearsing a sentence for a movie. The next file stopped my breath. It's better this way. He'll hate me. But he'll move on. I want him to remember the good years. Not the truth. Not the truth. She wanted to save me from pain by giving me a bigger pain. A clean breakup, a fake story, a gentle lie. No betrayal is gentle. No truth is painless. I sat there until sunrise, listening to the woman I love choose someone else. Sentence by sentence.
Kiss by kiss.
Lie by lie. Then, the twist I didn't expect. A file labeled, Decision. Her voice was trembling. What if he finds out about everything? The affair, the money. Sarah? Sarah, her friend. The older male voice replied, We did nothing wrong. He's stuck in the past. Only the family matters, ours. Ours. Family. She wasn't planning to leave me for love. She was planning to build a new family. With him. While using my trust as a bridge. And Sarah, she wasn't just a friend. She was the match that lit the fire. Sarah wasn't advising her. She was helping her cheat. Helping her escape. Helping her erase me from her life. Quietly. And the biggest twist? The money. In one short audio, she whispered, He thinks I'm studying. The tuition money. It's gone. Gone. Months of my overtime. Work during recession. Every plan I made to survive inflation. Investing to protect us from financial collapse. All of it didn't go to education. It went to him. To their trips. To their sessions. To their future. Imagine working 2 jobs to build your wife's degree. And instead financing her affair. Marriage isn't destroyed by someone better coming along. It's destroyed by someone who teaches your partner how to leave you. Sarah. Cameron. Her. 3 people. 1 betrayal. The door opened downstairs.
4 Uhr 55 AM.
She returned.
Breathing fast.
Perfume faded. Smile perfect. Hey! She said casually, as if nothing happened. As if the last 4 hours didn't change everything. I looked at her. Really looked at her. and realized something cruel. The woman I loved was gone. This version of her, this liar, this stranger in my house. She was just wearing her face. Subscribe to Betrayal Tells for more real heartbreak stories like this one. Did you sleep? She asked. I smiled. A broken smile. A rehearsed lie. Yeah. Slept well. 2 liars in 1 room. Perfect marriage. Tomorrow, the real story begins. Couldn't sleep that night. The house felt too quiet, too heavy. Like every wall was judging me for pretending everything was okay. I kept replaying every moment of the last year. Every smile. Every late-night talk. Every promise she made about forever. Was it all fake? Or did something break along the way? I wanted to scream, but the pain was silent. My chest hurt, my hands were shaking, and still, my brain kept protecting her. Maybe it's just emotional support. Maybe he's a colleague. Maybe the words don't mean what I think they mean. But no, the heart knows when something is broken. The next morning, she acted normal, almost too normal. She made breakfast, asked about my day, smiled like nothing happened. I watched her closely. Every laugh felt manufactured. Every word felt rehearsed. And the worst part? She didn't even know I was dying on the inside. She left home after breakfast. I'll just go for a walk. Be back soon. That same walk, the same time, the same pattern. This wasn't self-care. This was routine betrayal. I followed her quietly, not to catch her, but to catch the truth that was running from me. Every step felt heavy, like I was walking toward the end of my own story. She reached a street cafe and sat at the corner table. A man walked toward her. Confident, smiling like he owned her time, her attention, her heart. Their eyes met with a familiarity that stabbed me deeper than any confession ever could. She leaned forward, whispered something. He touched her hand. And she smiled, that smile she used to reserve only for me. I froze. It wasn't dramatic like the movies, no shouting, no storm, no lightning. Just a quiet moment where everything inside me collapsed. They weren't strangers. They weren't friends. They were 2 people living a story behind my back. While I was busy building a future, they were already burning. I walked away, not because I was weak, but because I needed to save whatever piece of my dignity was still alive. Back home, I sat in the dark. My phone buzzed. A message from her. Everything okay? I'll be home soon. I almost laughed. Everything okay? My whole world had fallen apart. And she still thought I was blind. I opened the chat again, the one from last night. I read those words again. My Christmas wish is just you. The same woman who told another man she loved him under the lights of a season built on love, family, and truth. Suddenly, I realized something. The worst betrayal isn't cheating. It's when someone kills the version of themselves that you fell in love with, while still pretending to be that person in front of you. That night, I made a decision. Not out of anger, but clarity. Sometimes, letting go is the only way to respect yourself. When she entered the house, I was waiting, calm, steady, aware. This time, she wasn't the one who had power. I didn't shout. I didn't cry. I simply said her name, and she looked at me, confused. In my eyes, she saw everything. The truth, the messages, the cafe, the walk, the broken trust. She opened her mouth to speak, to explain, to twist the story, to save herself. But there are moments when silence tells everything. I just said one sentence. Tell me the truth. Not to save us, but to save yourself from becoming a lie forever. And that is where the real story began. Not the betrayal, but the confrontation, the moment where masks fall, and the truth finally steps out from the shadows. If you want the truth of what she confessed, the reason behind all of it, and how one message destroyed a 19-year marriage, that comes next. Because sometimes, the explanation hurts more than the betrayal itself. She stood there frozen, like the world suddenly lost all sound. Her lips trembled, not because she was innocent, but because she knew the moment she spoke, everything we built would collapse into truth. I watched her. The same woman I promised to protect. The same woman whose dreams I carried like they were my own. Now she looked like a stranger hiding inside the body of someone I once loved. She tried to speak, but the first words came out like broken glass. It's not what you think, the oldest sentence in the book of betrayal. And somehow it's always the first thing they say. I didn't react. Emotion is a weapon in moments like this. Whoever shows it first loses the ground. I stayed silent, forcing the truth out of her without any defense left to hide behind. Her eyes filled with tears. Not guilt, but fear. Fear of losing comfort. Fear of losing the man who gave her everything, while she gave her heart to someone else. Finally, she spoke. I didn't mean for it to happen. It started with conversations. I felt unseen, unnoticed. He listened when you didn't. There it was, the justification dressed as confession. Not regret for cheating, but regret for getting caught. Unseen? Unnoticed? The same woman whose coffee I made every morning, whose hand I held on rainy evenings, whose dreams I supported with every sacrifice I made. I almost laughed, not because it was funny, but because betrayal turns everything absurd. She continued, talking fast, trying to bury the truth under excuses. It was just emotional, nothing physical, I swear. Another lie, the soft kind, built to protect the image she still wanted me to believe in. People forget something simple. Emotional cheating is when the heart goes first. The body is just late to the crime, and her heart had been gone for a long time. I asked her one question. When was the last time you looked at me with love, without comparing me to someone I didn't even know existed? She couldn't answer. Silence became the loudest confession. And in that silence, I saw everything clearly. While I was working late to give her a better life, he was sending poems. While I was planning Christmas surprises, he was sending "I miss you" messages. While I was fighting the world for us, she was building a new world without me. She cried then. Finally, tears without manipulation. She fell to the couch, hands on her face, whispering apologies like broken prayers.
I'm sorry.
I don't know what I was thinking.
I'm sorry.
But apologies don't rebuild trust. They only prove the betrayal is real. I could have shouted, broken things, thrown questions like knives. But what's the point? The truth was already standing between us like a wall. I realized something strange, something painful, something powerful. My love for her didn't disappear because she cheated. It disappeared because she became someone who could lie to my face every day without flinching. That's the real death of a relationship. Not the betrayal, but the transformation of the person you loved into someone unrecognizable. So I stood up, calm, controlled, almost numb. I said the only thing my heart had left to say. I hope he listens to you the way I used to, before you stop talking to me. Her tears turned into panic. She begged not for love, but for stability, for the life she was about to lose, for the man she didn't value until he stopped fighting. But I walked away, not out of hatred, not out of revenge, but because staying would have killed every part of my self-respect. The house felt different when I closed the door behind me. The weight lifted even while the pain stayed. Sometimes freedom doesn't feel like victory. It feels like bleeding, but it's still freedom. I sat in the car and looked at the old photo of us, smiling, happy, believing in forever. Forever wasn't the problem. The people inside it were. I whispered to myself, not as a man broken by betrayal, but as a man choosing himself again. Love shouldn't cost your dignity. And as the engine started, so did a new life. One where healing would be slow, but real. Where scars would stay, but teach. Where the pain would hurt, but eventually make space for strength. Because betrayal doesn't end a story. It begins the chapter where you become the strongest version of yourself. The rain started just as I pulled away from the house, like the sky knew something had ended. I didn't drive far, just enough distance to breathe without inhaling her lies. I parked near the river, the one we used to visit on weekends, back when love wasn't a battlefield. The phone buzzed. Not once, not twice, but 23 times. Her name, her panic, her desperation. I didn't open the messages, not because I didn't care, but because caring was no longer my job. Instead, I opened the conversation, the one with him, The man whose name I learned from the whispers she thought I never heard.
No greetings. No introductions.
Just screenshots. Proof of the 4 a.m. walks that were never walks, but escapes into someone else's arms. My finger hovered over the send button. And at that exact moment I realized something. This wasn't revenge. This was justice. So I hit send. A full timeline, from the first deleted texts to the 4 a.m. fake workouts, to the late-night group calls that never had a group. Receipts, dates, times. I expected fury. I expected denial. I expected the confidence of a man who steals love instead of earning it. Instead, his first reply was a single line. I didn't know she was married. Those 10 words hit harder than her confession. Because suddenly, everything twisted. He wasn't the villain. He was a victim of her performance. Just like me. I called him. He picked up instantly. His voice was calm. Too calm for someone who just got his world shattered. I thought you two were done, he said. She told me you were separated. She said you didn't love her anymore. She said you ignored her. There it was, the second betrayal hidden inside the first. Not only did she cheat, she turned me into a monster to justify it. I didn't shout. I didn't insult him. I just said, so while I was planning to take her to Paris for our anniversary, she was telling you that I abandoned her. Silence. Heavy. Uncomfortable. Then he said something I didn't expect. If you want, I'll send you everything. Every message. Every photo. Every voice note. So you can know the truth. This wasn't a war anymore. It was surgery, cutting out a rotten piece of my life with precision. Within minutes, my phone overflowed with files. Deleted texts I never saw. Screenshots of promises she made. Voice messages. Laughing. Calling me boring, calling him exciting. Saying she wished I was more like him. Imagine hearing the love of your life describing you as the reason she cheated. Not as a mistake, but as a solution to her needs. The truth is, betrayal is rarely about what you lack. It's about what they want without earning. He ended the call with a line that changed everything. She played both of us. Don't fight me. Let's both walk away from her lies. He was right. The real battlefield wasn't between two men. It was between truth and deception. As the sun rose, the storm ended, outside and inside. I had proof. I had clarity. I had something she never expected, power. I drove home. Each second felt like a countdown to the final collapse of our marriage. She opened the door before I even knocked. Mascara smeared, eyes swollen, hands shaking. Please don't leave, she whispered. The same mouth that whispered, I miss you, to another man now begging for the life she threw away. I didn't yell. Power is silent. I handed her the phone, open to the screenshots he sent me. Her stomach dropped. She turned pale like the truth drained the blood from her veins. No, no. This is not what it looks like. Lie number 87 in a relationship built on lie number 1. I didn't respond. I just walked past her. Collected my essentials. Laptop, documents, keys.
No chaos. No bags thrown.
Just the quiet ending of a loud betrayal. On my way out, she grabbed my wrist, trembling. I'll change. I'll do anything. Please, don't divorce me. Fear again, not love. Fear of consequences, not repentance. I looked at her, really looked. The woman who once made me believe forever was possible. Now terrified because forever was walking out of the door she opened herself. And I said the line every betrayed husband eventually learns. You didn't love me. You loved what I did for you. I left. And this time she didn't chase me. She just collapsed to the floor. Realizing that the affair gave her excitement, but it cost her everything real. If you're still here, hit like, because the darkest twist hasn't arrived yet. Her mother called me that night, crying, confused, begging me not to break the marriage. That man was just a mistake. She loves you. But love doesn't hide in 4 a.m. walks. Love doesn't erase messages. Love doesn't replace loyalty with excitement. For the first time, I defended myself. Not with anger, but truth. She cheated for 6 months. She lied every day. If this is love, then love should be buried. Her mother knew everything now. And suddenly, the family she counted on became the mirror she couldn't hide from. Everyone knew the truth, not because I wanted revenge, but because silence protects liars. Truth protects the betrayed. That night, as I sat alone in a small apartment, staring at the city lights, pain finally turned into something else. Clarity. Marriage died, but my identity didn't. She took away trust, but she didn't take away who I am. And that's where betrayal loses. The first night alone was strange. Not painful, not chaotic, just quiet. A quiet I hadn't heard in years. Not the quiet of 4 a.m. walks, where she slipped out pretending life was peaceful, but the quiet of truth. A silence that didn't lie. My phone buzzed again. Not her. Him. He sent one last message. I confronted her today. She told me she never planned to leave you. She just wanted excitement. I'm done. That message hit like a final bullet. Not aimed at me, but at the fantasy she built between two men. She didn't love him. She didn't love me. She loved the attention, the thrill, the idea of being desired twice without committing once. It was never a relationship triangle. It was a spotlight she stood in while we were just shadows. My heart didn't break anymore, it understood. Sometimes, betrayal isn't a failure of love. It's a failure of character. Days passed. Not weeks. Just days. I processed everything at lightning speed, because when truth arrives, healing doesn't need permission. Her messages shifted from anger to guilt, to promises to desperation. Voice notes at midnight. I can't live without you. You were my family. Please meet me once. Each message was the echo of regret, the kind that comes not from losing love, but losing comfort. Then came the big twist. One evening, I received a text from a number I didn't know. You should check the camera backups. There's something you never saw. It was the same man. He wasn't trying to drag this any longer. He wanted closure. For both of us. He sent a link, cloud backup from the home security system. Some clips were deleted, but the auto backup saved everything for 90 days. I hesitated, then hit play. Night after night, around 4:07 a.m., she walked downstairs. Not dressed for a run. Not in workout clothes. Just a hoodie, barefoot. Phone pressed to her ear. Smiling in whispers. Laughing the deep, soft laugh she used to give me when she was mine. But that wasn't the twist. The twist was what she said in those recordings. I feel alive when I talk to you. He doesn't make me feel anything anymore. He loves me too much. There's no challenge. I wish he would get jealous. Then it would be exciting. She wanted me to feel pain. She wanted to provoke jealousy, just to feel desirable. Her affair wasn't born from lack of love. It was born from addiction to attention. She wasn't running to love him. She was running away from the responsibility of being loved deeply. The man watching those clips with me, the stranger who unknowingly became part of my heartbreak, whispered one final truth. She used both of us to feed her ego. No anger. Just realization. I closed the laptop, and for the first time I didn't feel betrayed. I felt free, because betrayal isn't when they cheat. Betrayal is when you stay after knowing they don't value loyalty. If you're still listening, hit like, because what happens next changes everything. 2 weeks later, we faced each other in a neutral space. Not a home, not a battlefield. A lawyer's office. She looked smaller, like someone whose world collapsed and left nothing to hold on to. Her fingers shook as she signed the papers. A quiet, "I'm sorry," escaped her lips, almost too soft to hear. I nodded. Not in forgiveness. Not in hate. Just acceptance. She asked one final question. Was I really that unlovable? That question pulled every memory back. The first date, the long drives, the silly fights, the anniversary surprises, the promises whispered at 2 a.m., the dreams shared on rainy nights. And I told her the truth, the kind of truth she always ran from. You were loved so much that you didn't know what to do with it, so you chased someone who demanded nothing. Her eyes filled with tears. Not the kind that say, "Take me back," but the kind that say, I finally understand. We signed. The pen felt heavier than metal, heavier than all the lies combined. Not because divorce is the end, but because it was the beginning of a version of me that wasn't defined by someone else's chaos. I walked out. She didn't follow. She didn't plead. She just sat, frozen, realizing she destroyed a family trying to feel young, exciting, alive. Only the family she broke could never be built again, no matter how many apologies, no matter how many 4 a.m. walks. As I reached the door, the lawyer stopped me. You handled this with dignity. Most don't. I smiled. A real one, the kind that doesn't hide pain anymore. Because the truth is, when someone betrays you, they don't break your worth. They reveal theirs. I rebuilt slowly. New apartment, new routine. Early mornings, not of suspicion but sunrise. The gym became therapy. Work became focus. Life became simpler. Months later, I received one last message from the man who unknowingly shared my nightmare. I hope you're doing better. I learned from this too. I replied. We both survived the same storm. Forgiveness wasn't for her. It was for me. I didn't forgive the betrayal. I forgave myself for staying blind so long. Now, whenever someone asks me about that marriage, I don't talk about the cheating. I talk about the rebirth. Because betrayal didn't end my life. It revealed who deserved a place in it. And she wasn't one of them. So here's the final twist, the one I never expected. The 4 a.m. walk wasn't the betrayal. It was the alarm clock that woke me up from years of self-sacrifice. Her affair didn't ruin my life. It returned it to me. And the moral? Trust doesn't break in one moment. It dies the moment you stop trusting yourself. If you feel this story, comment "Stay strong," because someone listening right now needs to hear that heartbreak isn't an ending. It's an introduction to a stronger version of yourself. Subscribe to Betrayal Tells for more real betrayal stories, where pain becomes power, and every ending has a twist.